lacrosse friends, thank you for being here once again at Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse. I am your host, Stephen Stamp. Very excited to have you on. Very excited to have the participants in the Orly Bowl on the show. Kevin and Stephen Orleman coming on to talk about the heated friendly/sibling rivalry as they faced each other in Week 7 of the National Lacrosse League. Pretty exciting for them, for their families, and it's a really fun interview speaking with them. We also speak to Stephan Leblanc of the Halifax Thunderbirds, who had 5 weeks between games and then had to go into Toronto to play their heated rivals in Hamilton as they took on the Toronto Rock. So great interviews and a great rundown to wrap things up. Lots of news from different corners of the lacrosse world this week on the Rundown here on Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.
Welcome to Lacrosse Link with your host, Stephen Stamp.
All right, as promised, joining me on the show, the participants in the Orly Bowl, Kevin and Stephen Orleman. Welcome to Lacrosse Link.
Thanks, Stamp. We're excited to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
It's really cool to have you both here. And of course, once we saw that the Orly Bowl happened and people started talking about it, Dave Leno referenced it, we figured we had to have you on. And first off, have you ever, we've all been trying to figure this out, have you two ever played against each other before?
Never. It's we've played together in junior as teammates for a number of years, and I mean I got traded always out west to different leagues in junior lacrosse, so we never actually had the opportunity to play across from each other on different teams. So it was a pretty cool experience this past weekend.
Because Kevin, you went to Okotoks, right, in junior?
Yeah, that's right. I went in my third year to New Westminster, and Stevie was playing for the Braves the whole time, and then Delta in my fourth year. And then Okotoks Raiders in the fifth year. So of course, the only way we could cross paths is in the Minto Cup against each other, which never happened.
Right. And Stephen, you went to Brampton at one point, but that was after Kevin had graduated from junior.
Yes, yeah, that was in my third year after Kevin just graduated. But yeah.
So we did have a first on the weekend, Week 7 of the National Lacrosse League schedule, Panther City in New York to play the Riptide. And Kevin started, and Stephen, when did you hear that you were going to be backing up Goa Abrams that night? And was it a little bit of I can't believe we're not lining up against each other?
You know what? A little bit, like obviously you want to be playing, right? I found out on the Wednesday, so I had a good heads up about it. But you know what? This league, you got to earn your spot. And, you know, me and Go are both, you know, battling it out. So I respected the decision by Laddie to, you know, play him and, you know, ended up getting in anyways. And, you know, it turned out to be a great game. So
it really was an exciting game going to overtime. Stephen comes in 28 minutes into the game. I want to get both your thoughts, your feelings when the change was being made. Stephen, I guess when you got the tap and said you're going in, and Kevin, when you saw Goa walk into the bench and Stephen walking the other way. Stephen, why don't you go first, since you're the first one who knew?
Yeah, so I think it was like 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Honestly, like I've gotten that question a lot, just because everybody wants to know, like, oh, you're going against your brother, who you know, how are you thinking about it? But you know what, with the position that we were in, the biggest thing on my mind was we needed to win and we needed to get back in the game. So I was just doing whatever I could to, you know, help our team get there. And you know what, the boys stepped up too in front of me. So yeah, it was special, and I knew it was special in the moment. But the win was the most important thing. So
Kevin.
Yeah, and just to give a little bit of like backstory behind it, I had asked Stevie like earlier in the week if he was going to be starting or not, and he classic Stevie, he likes his little mind games with me, so he wouldn't show his hand one way or the other. I honestly I had anticipated him starting, so when I saw Goa was between the pipes to start things off, that surprised me a little bit, and then when Stevie was hopped off the bench to go in the net, I was like, okay, like here we go, like this is the real deal now. And it's intimidating because he was going in a position where the team was down by a few goals. He's got nothing to lose. Like he can just be comfortable, play his game. But I was excited for him. I was excited for the fam, for their parents watching at home. I thought the announcer did a great job, like acknowledging that the two brothers were playing against each other as well, which was really cool. So yeah, it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, we actually had Dave Leno on the show last week because he did 2 games in one day. So it was fun talking to him, and then getting to hear him make that call with talking about the Orly Bowl. I didn't know what to call it. You playing each other, but obviously it's the first of, you're going to hope, many. But what was it like for your families? You mentioned everyone was back home. Nobody, I guess, was down in New York for the game.
Yeah, our family did have plans to attend the game originally, but just with the whole COVID Omicron situation, they felt it was safer because we wanted our cousins and even our grandmothers to be a part of it. But we didn't want to put them at that kind of risk traveling, so decided to stay home, watch the game from the comfort of the couch. But it was a very special experience, I think, for mom and dad to be a part of. Obviously, they know how much this game means to us. It means a lot to them too. They have so much invested, driving us to rinks, spending their weekends in sweaty lacrosse arenas around Ontario growing up. I think to see that kind of moment is something that we'll definitely all cherish for a long time.
I want to go over a little bit the feelings in the overtime. I mean, first of all, actually, Stephen, I thought your defense did a great job in front of you. Like it seems like a lot of times when a team makes a goalie change, it's not just about the goalie. You're not putting everything in. I don't think anybody was saying it was all Goa. I think it was the way the team was playing, and they seemed to really step things up and only allowed like 14 shots on you in the second half, gave you a lot of support and let you do your best. So how did it feel getting in there, and how did you find the things went once you got into the game?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like at the halftime, Laddie stressed to the team that, that was not on Goa. We were not playing our lacrosse that we know we can. But you know what? Sometimes a goalie change kind of flips that switch for your team, right? So yeah, going in, the boys stepped up big in front of me, and you know what? A lot of the shots that they were getting on Panther City were shots that I could see really well, and the boys were letting me see from the outside. So it was good. Going into overtime, it's tough, right? Especially with your brother at the other end, because you want him to do so well too, and you're like hoping that you win, you're hoping that you score, and then he makes a save, and you're like, oh man, like good for him, like I'm happy for him, but yeah, I want to get my win too. So yeah, it was fun, it was interesting, but yeah, it was just good to be a part of.
Like Kevin, you've got to, like Stephen was saying, obviously you always want your brother to do well, especially for you. It's your little brother. He's getting his first chance in the league to play regularly, and really your first chance as well to play really regularly. But at the same time, is there anybody you want to beat more than him?
Yeah, that's a great question, Stamper, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you got so much invested in your little brother. He's kind of a product of yourself, or that's the way I think of it anyways. I mean, we've grown up watching each other, supporting each other, and coaching each other. And we've always had a really supportive relationship that way. But I mean, there's nothing bigger than the sibling rivalry. It's a tale as old as time. So you want, like Stevie said, you wish the best for each other. But at the end of the day, that's a win that you really, really want to have.
That overtime sequence was crazy. I mean, when Callum Crawford scored, I didn't even notice that there was a potential crease violation. Obviously, everything's checked, and I was speaking to somebody who said, yeah, they actually kind of stopped. It was Brett Malamud from the Riptide. He ran out to get some celebration video and pictures and things. And he said somebody had to grab him and drag him off and said, hang on, they're checking the goal. Just wait a bit. You can't be out there. And then, of course, it was so close, but I thought pretty clearly his toe was on the line. And then the other way, it was almost a carbon copy of, the toes just on the line when Pat Dodge scored for Panther City. So what was that roller coaster like for everybody?
I mean, for me personally, it was a roller coaster. For a minute there, I thought I had, first win for the team, first win under my belt. And, I got to experience that feeling for about a minute. And then all of a sudden that went away, and we were back in the battle. And, it's tough to kind of come back from something like that. I think the boys did their best effort. but running off the bench, celebrating, it's just for it to be turned over. It's a big morale check on you. So that was a tough battle for us. But we responded, and the game went a long time, right? So I think it really sets up the next battle of the Orlemans to be a good one. So I'm excited for that. And yeah.
Did you, Stephen, did you have any sense when the first Dodds goal that was called off, like, would you have any sense that he's in the crease, or you're not looking at his feet, obviously?
No, honestly, I thought it was like right behind me too, and then it trickled over, and then I saw the replay and it was more clear. But watching it on the big screen, you do see the foot kind of take like just like his toes in the top of the crease. So you knew right away that we were going to continue going on.
Kevin, you were about to speak and I cut you off.
No worries, Stamper. I was just going to say to Stevie's point about the roller coaster of emotions. I mean, when that Callum Crawford goal goes past me, and I had no idea that his foot was in the crease, obviously barely, like his big toe just on the white line, so close. It was just such an empty feeling at first, like knowing that or thinking that we just lost another close one. I mean, we've had a couple slip through our grasps already this season. And then just grabbing the ball out of the net. I know one of their guys, they were selling all around me. One of their guys, I think it was Connor Kieran, was looking for the game ball, and I just kind of held on to it because I wanted to give it to Stevie actually in the handshake line and congratulate him on his first win, because I was happy for him, devastated for our team, obviously. And then looking at the replay and seeing Crawford's toe like just barely on the line, all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, we got a chance here. Like, we're going to keep playing lacrosse. This isn't over yet. So it was a humongous roller coaster of emotions. Like, I don't think you can write a better script. I was talking with Travis Cornwall after the game, and we were kind of doing the math and thinking, like, usually overtime games in this league are decided in the first possession. There's never been a game in the history of the league to go to 2 overtimes. That's like we did the math, and it's like that's got to be top 3 longest games in NLL history, and you can't write a better script for the first annual or hopefully Orly Bowl. It was pretty cool to be a part of.
When Patrick Dodds got that ball on what turned out to be the winning goal, Kevin, were you like, don't go near the net, just shoot now?
Honestly, Stamper, I blacked out. I didn't remember him scoring the goal. I didn't remember who scored. And I think it's hilarious watching the replay of that goal. You can see the exhaustion on our players. Like, nobody is like sprinting over to Doddsy after he scores that. We throw our hands up and everybody walks to him. It's just like, it just goes to show how hard we had to grind for that first ever win. But yeah, I was like, man, just catch it, shoot it, stay the heck away from the crease, man.
Like you said, you couldn't have written a better script. It's great to have you both on. Always great to catch up, Kevin and Stephen. Appreciate you taking the time, and thanks for being with us here on Lacrosse Link.
Thanks, Stanford. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Stanford.
Hi, this is Jaden with Al Anderson Source for Sports. Excited to tell you that we got all our new lacrosse product in for this upcoming season. Whether you're playing box or field, our lacrosse experts are going to make sure we get you into the right equipment to elevate your game. At Al Anderson Source for Sports, we know our stuff.
Joining me on Lacrosse Link from the Halifax Thunderbirds, the author of their game-winning overtime goal in Week 7, Stephan Leblanc. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Stamps.
It's got to be tough preparing for a game when you haven't played for 5 weeks. You had a couple of other opponents you were supposed to face in the meantime. How did you guys get ready to go to face Toronto in Hamilton after that long layoff and so much being up in the air?
Yeah, it was tough. Like, we were just talking. It's you're preparing for one team, you're watching game film, you're getting the scouting report, and then you just got to flip the switch, right? It's just like going into another week. And, luckily with the break, it was right around the holidays. So it did give us a little bit of time to spend time with family. And, we're practicing during the week at the ILA. So, January 5th, we were able to get in for a practice, and then we were able to get in a couple of days early before the game. So I think that helped us a lot, just kind of refocus, get together as a group, and and really prep for what was a pretty good battle.
And the odd thing I thought was normally you have a team that's had a long break and you have a team that played the week before. The team that's coming off the break is going to be the ones who are a little rusty, who, the other team's usually sharper, but you guys came out flying. I know you have to attribute some of it to Austin Shanks, who was fired up to get back after missing some time with a hamstring injury. But what allowed you guys to get off to such a great start?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it was a bit surprising, right? I mean, I don't know how it works in other leagues, but I've always felt on back-to-backs, I feel more comfortable in the NLL. You got your stick in your hand more and you're a little bit sharper. So I think it was something we knew the situation that Toronto was in with losing to Buffalo the week before, and having kind of, if we win this, it really is our season series against them. So I think there was a lot of pressure added up there, and then we knew we had to come out firing in order to put on a good show. And so in the end, I think we weathered their storm a little bit. If you watch that first quarter, I think I had to play defense about 3 times just in that quarter, which isn't too typical of my game. But luckily we were able to weather that, and then kind of Shanks, like you said, just every shot he took just seemed to find the back of the net, which is awesome. So that gave us a boost.
Yeah, Steph, whenever you have a situation where you get ahead like that, and then there's going to be changes, Toronto battles back, which I'm sure you expected. You knew they wouldn't just roll over. Troy Holochuk comes in, which you have to adjust to, but teams tend to focus internally, and you guys had a lot of changes yourselves with guys like Connor Watson, Ryan Terefenko coming in, Shanksy coming back. You had a lot of things to deal with just among yourselves, right?
Yeah, we definitely did. I mean, and we had guys step up, right? I mean, I roomed with Connor Watson, and he had 2 big ones, and I think I'm really impressed with just our face-off team and our DN. They're just so consistent and they're so hard to beat that they really are the heart and soul of our team. And then our offense, a little bit more parity last game, which I think makes it a little bit more difficult on Toronto. But again, that right side just keep on rolling, and it's been fantastic.
You guys were talking about how the left side hadn't really come together. I mean, Cody Jamieson had been out for most of the year, the whole year up to this point. And, you and Kyle Jackson trying to find your rhythm didn't feel like you were right on. Did you feel like the right side had kind of been carrying you, and this was your chance to really step up in a big way?
I mean, it's, you're competitive, right? I mean, I've been in this league long enough, and as an offensive guy, you know what your job is, right? And Kyle knows the same thing. And so there was a little bit of pressure, I think we were both feeling coming into this game. You get off to, no goals in the first 2 games of the year. You want to come out with a bang, and, the break doesn't make it any better, right? You're thinking about it constantly. You're watching film. You're wondering why it's not going in for you. So, I think there was a little bit of emphasis there. Not that we're, upset that the righties are carrying the load, but we want to take a little bit of pressure off them too. And now, if you get defenses that have to focus a little bit on both sides, it opens up things for everybody. So we want to have parity across our offense. And so hopefully we're on the right path right now.
How much difference does it make having Cody Jamieson back in the lineup? I mean, he's such an incredible player and leader.
Yeah, I think you just said it, right? I don't think it's just what he does on the floor. I think it's what he does off the floor as well, and in the dressing room. And you know how it is when you're injured, you kind of have a disconnect with the team. So having him back in full force, and in the huddles, and in the offensive meetings, maybe at the end of a quarter or whatever it might be, it's a huge help. Not to mention just the attention he takes when he is on the floor, right? If they don't guard him, he can put it in the back of the net at any point. So that creates openings for the rest of us.
On the overtime goal, you come around the top. There was some traffic. It's hard to tell from the broadcast angle what you were able to see. Did you see the ball go in, or were you waiting? Did you see an eruption?
Yeah, I did. So if you look at the play right before, when we're on offense, Cody comes around the top, same thing, and he kind of does his little twister that you've seen him hit 100 times in a row, and he just misses the net. But the goalie really moves right out of the way of his shot. So it was funny because Mike Accursi had really said, hey, look at pulling it back short side. He kind of leaves it open. And so I'm not going to say that I threw a sidearm on the run and was able to pick that corner. I kind of just closed my eyes and just tried to put it on net for a reset, because I think there was about 3 seconds left on the shot clock, but that's exactly where it ended up going. So, it just worked out.
Guys say that like, oh, I just close my eyes and let it rip. But I feel like maybe it's because I'm a really bad shooter. So when I hit one, I want to take credit. I'm like, hey, I actually did what I was trying to do that. So, hey, you should take credit if that's
there you go. Yeah. Got to be lucky. You got to be good to be lucky, I guess, sometimes.
I mean, you're obviously many times better shooter than I am, but I take credit for it. And obviously you're preparing for the next game now, and things are so up in the air. You just try and take the energy from this and just keep it rolling and get ready to play whenever you're able to play again.
Yeah. And for me, it's kind of my former team. So it's, it's got that whole excitement as well. Not that Toronto, you definitely have a little bit more pep in your step after 8 years in that building, but, I'm excited. I know how good they are. And so I know that there's going to be a big challenge there, but I think we're up to it. So it should be a fun game to watch and play in.
Steph Leblanc, really appreciate you taking the time to come on and being patient with us through a couple of do-overs as we had some technical glitches. Glad to have you on Lacrosse Link and look forward to seeing it at a rink soon.
Yeah, thanks, Stamp. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for being with us for those interviews, terrific interviews with Kevin and Stephen Orleman, talking about the Orly Bowl, and Stephan Leblanc talking about Halifax finally getting back on the lacrosse floor to compete. For the rundown this week, we've got some really interesting items. We're going to start with Dangerous Dan Dawson making history. He played his 300th game in that Toronto versus Halifax game in week 7. He is just 6 behind John Tavares for the all-time record. As it stands right now, he should break that if all goes smoothly, no more cancellations for Toronto, he doesn't miss any games. That would happen in Vancouver on March the 12th. Bit of a shame because he did have to miss the one game. The Toronto's 2 previous games before that Vancouver match are in Hamilton, their home arena, so he would have gotten to break that record at home. But who knows what's going to happen as we go. Obviously, lots of things going on with the schedule through no one's fault other than COVID. So Dan Dawson closing in. He's also just he is 17 points behind Tavares for the all-time assist record. He will be number 1 in that category. And if things work out well at the pace he generally gets assists, it could happen that he could break the assist record in the game where he breaks the all-time games played record. I think that would be pretty cool, pretty neat thing to see that all happening at once. He also, on the weekend, did move into second all-time in points behind John Grant Jr. Pretty neat to see John Grant very quickly tweet out, "Congratulations, Dan, keep it going." Obviously, a lot of respect among some of the greatest players in the history of the game there. Coming up, the announcement has been made that the European qualifiers for the World Field Lacrosse Championships will be held this spring. Pretty cool to see things getting going again, starting in April, I believe, that tournament being held in Poland. And there'll be 23 teams looking for 11 spots at the Worlds. This World Championships in 2023 will be the first one where you have to qualify. Before, everyone could go, but we had like 50 teams in Netanya, Israel in 2018. It gets a little unwieldy. There's now a qualifying process. European Lacrosse Federation has 16 spots. 5 teams qualified automatically based on their placement in Israel at the 2018 Worlds. That was England, Israel, Germany, Scotland, and Ireland already qualified. So 11 spots up for the 23 teams that will be in Poland this spring. So very cool to see things progressing towards getting back towards normalcy. A very new initiative taken up by Next Level Lacrosse. It is the Next Level Collegiate League, or the Next Collegiate League. I just found out about this. Don't have a lot of details. They are just breaking this news recently as we're recording. Looks like they've got about half a dozen schools, including some historically black colleges and universities, who will be playing an Olympic style or sixes discipline league, a collegiate league, starting up. They're looking to add more and more schools. Pretty cool to see that kind of initiative. Great to see some of the HBCUs getting involved. Diversity is one of the things we really need to be open to and encourage and drive in the sport of lacrosse. So really cool to see that initiative, and there's going to be a lot more coming, obviously, as we roll down the road. The Premier Lacrosse League player movement window is open. It opened earlier this week, and now because coaches have become coaches, GMs, they can handle their own roster situations now, which is a big development for the PLL. And that window is open, so you could see trades, you could see players cut, players added. So keep your eyes on the PLL to see what is going on. We'll obviously keep an eye on that for you as well. And the big news coming up: week 8 of the National Lacrosse League. Again, a bit of a strange one. We've had some postponements. We've had a lot of things going on throughout this season because of COVID, but the league keeps moving forward and is handling things, I think, very well. I mean, they're doing what they have to do in all situations, but we have 3 games as of right now for this weekend as we record, and 2 of those games all 3 games feature teams playing twice in the same weekend. So there are 3 games, but only 4 teams playing. We've got Georgia at Rochester on Friday. Then the Nighthawks turn around Saturday, go to Philadelphia and play the Wings. And then Sunday, the Wings turn around for an afternoon game. They play again, playing host to the New York Riptide on Sunday. So 3 games, 4 teams, but it's going to be a very different weekend to week 7, but it should be a very interesting week 8 in the National Lacrosse League. I am your host, Stephen Stamp. Thanks for being with us here at Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse. We'll see you again soon.